Hello everybody and welcome back. A couple of days ago, me and my friend Ross, we played the first ever FM versus showdown between me and him, and he had to play 5 defenders, in the same line, and 3 strikers up top. That was decided by a spinning wheel, and at the time I was like, okay, this is like not big deal. Of course, you're not gonna have any midfielders, but you can kind of deal with that, but could you? Alright, so first of all, why am I even trying to make this weird tactic work? Like, the stipulation here is you must have a backline of 5 and a front line of 3. And the answer is not just because next time we play the FM versus showdown, the wheel may say that I have to play like this, but I always love trying these weird tactics, weird formations, and try to make them work. Just because this is the great way to learn more about the engine, try out different roles, and try to create something that is functional, kind of creating something out of nothing. And yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun. So I started by trying using complete wingbacks on attack, doing it a little bit asymmetric, maybe a complete wingback on this side, maybe a wingback on this side, maybe an inverted left, maybe... I tried all of them, but couldn't make it work. I initially went with the Gegenpressen style, of course, like high line, ultra, like this, but nah, it didn't work. I just couldn't make it work because there is always this huge gap in your midfield, and there is this huge disconnect between your defenders and your attackers, and with just 2 people in the middle, even if you try like putting shadow strikers and then trying to somehow drop the attackers, I just couldn't figure it out. It's super hard. It's a challenge for you. If you think it's not that hard, just try. So the thing that I could make work was squeezing in the lines. So if you squeeze the front line and the back line, you kind of create this formation on pitch where your defenders are able to communicate directly with your attackers, but at the same time you're having issues because how do you actually score goals? So you can bring your defenders just so much up front, like even complete wingbacks. You gotta build up the game. You can try and keep some possession. You can try be direct didn't work. Sorry, it didn't work. And this is the best version that I got. With this formation that you're seeing on the screens and this tactic, I got Man United finishing 5th with 68 points, which is not great, but believe me, more than 60% of the time I got fired trying to use these tactics. Midway, okay, it's not midway, maybe like in April, but after I got kicked out of all the competitions. So the only formation that I managed to kind of make work by using positive football, by trying to gegenpressen and get the ball forward and I don't know, keep possession, was actually this. So the issue that you're gonna face if you try this challenge is that with the 3 attackers, it's not really easy to make them behave like inverted wingers or inside forwards, or make them drop deep or drift wide. You can click as much as you want to stay wider and drop deep and be on support and stuff like that, but if you're not using deep lying forwards on support and complete forwards on support, it kind of doesn't work. They stay too central despite the fact you're trying to make them go to the wings, and there is always this huge disconnect. So the best version that I got with Man United was using a roaming playmaker to kind of be everywhere and try to do something with the ball. 1 libero to join the midfield, no wingbacks, no complete wingbacks, inverted wingbacks on support. So I was like, okay, let's try and do the following. Let's try and have these 5 players be the ones who actually be creating the build up from the back. So this guy is gonna get a little bit on the inside, and this guy's gonna get a little bit inside, this guy's gonna step up. So this way we have Scott McTominay here. This guy is gonna try and shuffle through the lines and bring the ball like between the defense and the attack, and the roaming playmaker is just gonna drift everywhere and maybe create something out of nothing. Deep line forward was coming back. He was often found somewhere around this position here, trying to get the ball and maybe pass it to someone or run with it. So this was kind of useful. But the issue that we have with this is that you also need attacking players. You need someone to be actually leading the line and be there to actually score a goal. So an advanced forward on attack definitely absolutely needed. In this case, I needed the fastest player, and Garnacho was kind of doing the job with his 17 pace and acceleration. He was breaking the line and he was scoring goals. You can see he's close to Marcus Rashford. Complete forward on attack is making Marcus drift a bit more. So he was also kind of participating, kind of linking to the roaming playmaker, kind of linking to the players in the defense. So this is the best that I could achieve in, believe me, over 15-20 tries with a possession counter-pressing tactic. So if you really believe you can do better, let me know how you did it. But let's move on. Alright, after creating the gegenpressing, kinda trying to keep possession football with Man United, I decided that, okay, let's try this tactic with someone else. And I tried doing it with Man City, and the results were not great. I got fired a ton. So in the end, I was like, okay, so what do we have here? Like, when life gives you lemons, what do? Squeeze and make lemonade. So if we're gonna be having 5 defenders, no midfield, and some attackers up front, why don't we just go counter-attacking? And honestly, it worked. There were a couple of iterations where I saw this, okay, it may actually work. And I gave it a try at the end like this. The idea here is that, okay, we're gonna try to use the wingbacks as someone who's gonna be running forward and acting as a winger, but also be coming back. We're gonna have only 3 defenders that are gonna be on defend duty, so everyone else is gonna be trying to actually actively participate in the build-up and in the attacking phase of the game. So when we're in possession, these guys bombard forward. Actually, a lot of the time it was Bernardo Silva playing on this side, and sometimes it was also Rico Lewis here. I tried playing De Bruyne here as well, so this is kind of weird, right? You're playing forward De Bruyne. So if you're gonna be playing a counter-attacking football, if you're gonna pretend to be Diego Simeone in his prime, when he reached the final of the Champions League and almost won it against Real Madrid, maybe this kind of makes sense. So I partnered this with a cautious approach. Slightly higher tempo, utilize the wings, and underlaps. Underlaps are kind of important here because I'm using 2 segundo volantes on attack, and the deep lying forwards will stay wider and run wide with the ball. Therefore, we're gonna be having the volantes actually utilizing the 2nd and 4th channel on the left and the right, and Erling Haaland had to be a target forward here. So this tactic actually kind of worked. As you can see, Man City won the Premier League with it. It is kind of weird because, first of all, Erling Haaland as a target forward with not a lot of people around him trying to score goals. 51 goals, pretty respectable, I'd say. Weird part is that Kyle Walker, yeah, on the wing back on attack, 15 assists. Kevin De Bruyne as someone who played as deep lying forward, drifting wide, dropping in, trying to get the ball from the other midfielders or from the defenders, and he also managed to create a couple of assists. So pretty good. But it's not really great because knocked out in the round of 16 by RB Leipzig and knocked out in the Carabao Cup by Grimsby, knocked out in the FA Cup by Leicester. So is it great? Not really. And when we kind of have a look at the fixtures, you see where this excels and when it really fails to produce results. So because we were playing cautious, we were trying to play counter-attacking football, it kind of worked, as you can see here. Man United, Chelsea 1-0, Arsenal 2-0. By the way, great defensive output. So 1-0 against Liverpool, 2-0 against Newcastle. You can see here, was the weirdest one of them all. So when we were facing good teams that were probably a bit more dynamic, not great. But otherwise, Liverpool 1-0 at home, beating Tottenham here, Atletico Madrid here. So the worst results were actually against teams that were okay with defending against us. So when they wanted to defend and counterattack, this is when we actually struggled. And it kind of makes sense. So losing games against teams that you shouldn't be losing, but winning against teams that you should be losing against, that I don't know if it makes sense, but it kind of seems working. So bottom line, if you want to play 5 at the back, and this means 5 players in the same line and 3 strikers up top, don't. It's not a great idea. But if you insist on doing it, or you're doing some stupid challenge, as the one that we're doing with Ross, you have 2 choices. If you're the dominant team, you can probably try and keep possession the way that I did it with Man United, with a libero and inverted wingbacks that are gonna cut in, and the libero and the wingbacks are gonna be doing the build-up for you, and then you can kind of do something else with the midfielders and maybe dropping in 1 or 2 of the strikers to try and create the chances. But if you're gonna be playing against teams that are kind of on the same level as you, maybe going counter-attacking is actually a great idea, because you're gonna be absolutely amazing in the defense and you're gonna hit them on the counter when they make a mistake. So that's the bottom line. Thank you very much for watching. If you ever want to try this challenge and you want to create a tactic that's better than mine and have better results than mine, I would love to hear about it. Make so in the comments. See you next time. Bye bye.